Hi guys and welcome to the Sunderland vs MK Dons match review. So Sunderland have won, they've got back 2 winning ways by beating them by 2-1 in a hard-fought game at the Stadium of Light. So we'll get straight into it, starting with the lineup. So we did have McLaughlin in goal, we had De Bock and Lynch making their league debuts, with Willis alongside Lynch as well in the centre of defence. We had Conor McLaughlin on the right hand side of defence. Midfield, we had McGeoch and Power as well. We had Maguire on one side, Gooch on the other, and then we had O'Nien sort of almost alongside, but also coming back and dropping into that hole with so O'Nien and White pretty much sitting up top. So we get into the game, and I think for the first sort of 10 minutes or so, I think we controlled the game really well. I don't think, it was nothing spectacular. We didn't really create anything, but we did look more comfortable. I think that would be the word I'd use. And it's sort of, I felt probably the most comfortable I've felt for quite some time whilst watching us. You always feel like there's going to be a dodgy pass at the back or something like that. But we look very organised, very controlled, and it was very comfortable, as I say. So we controlled the ball, nice little passing moves, but we weren't really making anything. The final third was really, really lacking. But then after about 10 minutes, that's when MK Dons started to come into the game a little bit. They were whipping balls into the box, a couple of sort of scrambles around the edge of our area. But nothing again coming of it, no real clear-cut chances again. But as the game started to get a little bit scrappy between the two teams, we were playing the ball around quite neatly. But then a loose ball does fall for Power in a position in which you just wouldn't expect him to shoot whatsoever. It's at the right-hand side of the pitch, and he just lashed at it, and it's bent from right to left, done the keeper into the top left-hand corner, and it's an absolute frigging beauty. It really, really is. So we go a goal up, and it's Power, yet again, who did score that absolute thunder bastard of a goal against Sheffield United during the week in the Cup. So that's another goal for him. And just, a couple of minutes later, we had a chance where O'Nien, he got in, had a header, which was, I couldn't really see whether it either hit the post or the keeper made a great save, but either way, he was very, very close. But speaking of O'Nien, just a few minutes later, he did get himself in the score sheet. Ball played over the top, and originally it looked as though the MK Dons back line thought that O'Nien must have been offside. They were kind of just walking as O'Nien was going in one-on-one with the keeper as the ball was played over the top. The keeper didn't really know what to do either. He didn't know whether to come out for it or not. But the ball is bouncing, the ball is bobbling, and he does lift it over the keeper beautifully, perfectly. Hits the inside of the far post. The MK Dons defender has tried to track back and head it away, but it has been deemed to and adjudged to have crossed the line. So that's 2-0 after about 28, 29 minutes. And I have to say, it was deserved. And I think for the rest of the first half, we did make more chances, and we really should have put them to bed. We really should have put them to bed in the first half. We had a few corners as well, a couple of corners, I'd say, in that first half, where we've been trying these corner routines that we've only really been seeing in the sort of League Cup or in other competitions. But we have these couple of little corner routines where a man will come for the ball or try to take it short, but then he'll dummy it and it'll come to someone on the edge of the box. Quite relatively simple stuff, but some of them are quite really well worked. A couple of half chances here and there where our corner routines will amount to something. Power had a chance on the edge of the box, but he's kind of scuffed it, and it did go into a sort of a load of bodies in the box. It could have gone anywhere, so it causes danger regardless. McGeoch as well, one fell to him where he's hit it, and it's been blocked as well. But other than that, we were making chances and we were on top. Gooch as well, he intercepted one of the defenders' passes across the MK Dons back line, won the ball. He hasn't really got it under control fully, but he does manage to gain control, shifts it onto his right foot, and he's tried to bury it into the bottom left, but he's dragged it wide. So we were making chances, and at MK Dons, when they come forward, they did look relatively dangerous as well, but it was mainly sort of crosses and little half chances that they'd nearly get onto the end of balls and stuff like that. Nothing too major as of yet at this point in the first half for me anyway. I think we definitely deserved more than a 2-goal lead, I would say. So I was happy with that performance. I think the thing I was most happy with is, like I say, I felt so comfortable in watching us. I didn't feel like there was a mistake in us in terms of our defence, which has been the biggest worry for us. Lynch and Willis together, I'm going to say that is an absolutely excellent duo, if today is anything to go by. Lynch, for me, was absolutely incredible. A 10 out of 10 performance for me, and I'm only saying this at half time as well. He was just winning everything in the air. If anything he missed, Willis, because he has that pace, a huge amount of pace, and he would come in, tuck him behind and do the clearing up if Lynch did miss anything, which he rarely did, to be fair, because he was winning frigging everything in the air. He just absolutely bossed it, and today before we even get to the end of the review, I'm going to say he was my man of the match, Lynch. But anyway, into the second half. I'm just a really big fan of Lynch now, so just so you know, I'll put that on record. But anyway, we get into the second half. MK Dons did a shot towards their post that McLaughlin did have to save, but the Maguire had a free kick right on the edge of the box around 50 odd minutes, and he set that over the bar. But then another chance did fall to Maguire again. He had it on the right hand side. He plays it across for Gooch, who does have a shot. It's really close inside the area. Has a shot. It's blocked, but it goes into the air. White wins the header. It goes down to Power, who sort of volleys it on the edge of the box, and it's a great save by the MK Dons keeper at the near post. But MK Dons did manage to get a goal back, and I'm kind of talking now as if we're absolutely battering MK Dons, but I think on the first half, we definitely should have scored more without necessarily battering them, because they weren't really poor or anything like that. I think it was just the more chance it did fall to us, I would say. But they did manage to get a goal back in this in the second half. A ball was played over the top from right to left. There was a man running in behind on the left-hand side. It's quite poor defending from McLaughlin, really. But McLaughlin he couldn't decide whether he was going to come for it. And this is what's been frustrating me with McLaughlin this season. He doesn't seem he's too indecisive. He can't decide what he's doing. Any ball that I've seen, that gets played towards the back post, so many times this season I've seen him think, yeah, I'm going to go for it. And then he'll stop midway. And then this point, he's in no man's land because he's midway through either committing to go for the ball, but he's also left the goal gaping. Do you know what I mean? And he's done that for this goal. Ball played over the top. Don't get me wrong, Conor McLaughlin's defending weren't great. He got caught out a little bit. But John McLaughlin, he didn't need to commit himself the way he did. He either has to commit because the attacker's got a lot of work to do. He either fully commits or he stays back in his line, because then nothing would have happened. But he has committed himself half-heartedly. The attacker has nodded it over McLaughlin, and it was kind of nearly, it was heading towards the goal line anyway. But Lynch and the MK Dons player kind of collide and almost bundle the ball over the line, and John McLaughlin very calmly just sort of grabs the ball as if to say, no, it's not a goal. I'm thinking, hold on a minute, is it a goal or not? And there was a bit of confusion going around because John McLaughlin was just so calm, like, no, it's not a goal type thing. But then looking back at the goal, there was actually probably nothing really wrong with it. Yeah, there was a bit of a collision before with Lynch and the MK Dons attacker, but they did it was kind of a 50-50, and they both bundled the ball into the back of the net. So that's it, fair play. It's 2-1. But we did come back. We had a short corner that Gooch cuts inside and he drags it wide of goal. MK Dons did start to come forward towards that second half, or the sort of second half of the second half, towards the last stage of the game. They did come forward quite a few times with a few nearly moments. And again, there was an indecisive moment as well from John McLaughlin again. I have said on social media I would have liked to have seen Burge today, not because I don't like John McLaughlin, because I think he's a great goalkeeper. I just think players should be judged on form, and whenever I have seen Lee Burge, which hasn't been a massive amount, granted, but he hasn't put 1 foot wrong at all, whereas John McLaughlin this season, although he has saved our arses on countless occasions, he's also getting this sort of vulnerability which he didn't have last season, and he is very indecisive. Like I said, I'm using that word because that's probably the best way to describe it. He just can't make his decisions quickly enough, or he won't stick to them. It's like he doesn't really know whether he should commit, whether he should, or whether he shouldn't. He just doesn't seem quite right to me so far this season, John McLaughlin. But anyway, like I say, they did have a few chances. MK Dons, a corner came to the edge of the box, which luckily for us, the shot went miles over. But De Bock on the left-hand side, who was very solid, I think, for the majority of the game. I think he was a very solid player. He didn't do too much sort of going forward, but he was generally defensively quite solid, and I was quite impressed with him, so I was quite happy with him. But just over the hour mark, Hume did come on. I think that was a good move from Jack Ross, because I think we did need a bit of backup for Gooch on that left-hand side to try and have a bit of link-up play, because he was quite a lonely man at times. Gooch had come down the left-hand side. He'd want to play the ball into Wyke, but Wyke's movement off the ball is just frigging atrocious. He kind of just stands there facing the ball rather than looking for areas to run into, if you know what I mean. And I know that is typical sort of target man behaviour, but he doesn't even get himself into decent positions to play this sort of hold-up play. He was really, for me, there was a few times where he would win the ball in the air, knock it on. That's fine, but to have probably 2 or 3 decent touches in the sort of 80 minutes he was on the pitch, that's not good enough for me. And I think there were a couple of times where he did Or there was one time where he kind of did get on goal, but he just can't dribble, and he just basically just smashed it in front of him, a bit like a Lukaku, but a hell of a lot worse, of course. But he just doesn't look like a footballer to me, Charlie. Like, I love the guy, I really do, and I want him to do well. And there's glimmers of little class, and you think, oh yeah, he's actually all right. Then like today, and I just watch him and I think, no, yeah, absolutely not. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah. So like I say, Hume did come on to try and help out Gooch on the left hand side. Another good chance though for 09. He held up the ball on the left hand side byline really, really well, and he did pull it back to Maguire just around the penalty spot. And Maguire with the outside of his foot, he's just absolutely smashed it high and wide. He really didn't need to. He had a bit more time than I think he did have. He should have done a lot better than that anyway. And there was another chance where Power did break forward on the counter attack, and he hit his shot over the bar. And they had a shot from distance as well, MK Dons, towards the latter stage of the game, and it has floated just over the bar, to be fair. But like I say, in the 80th minute, Wyke did come off. Grigg come on, who didn't really do a massive amount. He had a couple of nice touches, to be fair, but again, in the 10-15 minutes he was on the pitch, he didn't really do too much, didn't get himself into any sort of decent positions. But in saying that, the team as a whole, they were almost sitting back a little bit, or just trying to absorb pressure or time waste a little bit at this point in the game anyway. So, I can let him off a little bit with that one, given the style of play we were going for at that period in the game. But the sort of last 10-15 minutes, it was a scrappy affair, and we managed to see it out to get a 2-1 win. So in terms of, this is the game I was looking at in terms of bouncing back from the Bolton performance, because that was really poor, of course. Sheffield United, of course, that was in the Cup, and either way, Jack Ross, I wouldn't have judged him on that, because it is the Cup, we had to change players around, whatever. But this was the game that I was looking towards, and I think we did get a good reaction, because I think on the whole it was a good performance. And I think we are seeing more positives, because obviously defensively that was the biggest thing. We're looking a lot more comfortable there. Conor McLaughlin on the right hand side still scares the shit out of me. He was probably one of the best performances I've seen him today, but I'd still give him a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Do you know what I mean? I just don't really rate him. He does scare the shit out of me, but at the same time, Luke O'Nien, I think he's so wasted in that right back position, and he's so much more useful. As you've seen today, scored a goal. He's so much more useful in that final third or in the midfield to give us that more energy and that tenacity. But yeah, on the whole, it was a much, much better performance and a very, very good result against a decent MK Don side as well. So 3 points, which now means I believe we are 5th in the league. I will just quickly check. Yes, we are 5th in the league. Coventry a point ahead of us in 4th. Fleetwood also in 3rd with a point ahead of us as well. Ipswich top of the league, and Wickham in 2nd. So it goes Ipswich, Wickham, Fleetwood, Coventry, Sunderland and Blackpool as well. So of course we do have a game in hand as well. So we're only 5 points from the top now. That's 10 games, 5 wins, 4 draws and 1 loss, which isn't awful. Of course there's more to it, but if we just turn a couple of those draws into wins, we'd be top of the league now, or thereabouts, you know what I mean? And it'd look a lot better. But if we do cut out these draws and we get more clean sheets in the league, then I think we're onto something, particularly if Lynch and Willis manage to stay fit, because that was my biggest, the thing that impressed me the most today, if you know what I mean. So yeah, a very, very positive day. What do you guys think of the game today if you did watch it? And if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sassy Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.